Welcome back to the Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Delighted to talk to my friend David Scott. He is the host of a program that's an official Price of Business podcast called CMO Radio, which stands for Chief Marketing Officer. It's a very unique program on so many different levels. First of all, it's a CMO. It's a program by marketers for marketers. And you know, there's just certain nuances there that people can appreciate. But what I also like is I've been listening to these interviews. What I also like is that it's something that someone who doesn't have expertise, you know, in marketing, but someone who owns the company is concerned about how their marketing is going can garner great information to help them take their own company's marketing to a better level, to a higher level. And so I love what David does. And David, welcome to the program.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Kind of give us a little bit of background, a little bit of information about yourself and how you got to starting the podcast. And you started a podcast on your own before it became a part of the priceofbusiness.com platform. Kind of give us some background.
Yeah, that's right. So I've been marketing for about 20 years and enjoy and love the practice of marketing. And what I found is that one of my favorite things to do is to have dinner with another marketer and just talk marketing, just talk about the techniques that we use, talk about the partners that we partner with, talk about what succeeded and what failed. I found that was such an enriching conversation because we could really, really talk shop, right? It's two practitioners really going at it. So what I thought I would do is go ahead and put together a 30-minute show, which is on the priceofbusiness.com, which actually brings the best marketers in the world to actually talk about marketing from their perspective. We have the Chief Marketing Officer of Quiznos, the CMO of House of Blues, the CMO of Cross Pins, just some really amazing marketers coming in and talking about some of the most interesting components of marketing, like social media. How do you use social media? How do you leverage it to your advantage? Or we talk about things like brand. How do you tell an authentic brand story? Now, as you had mentioned earlier, these things are tactics that are used by billion-dollar companies. However, these exact same tactics can be used by any everyday business owner that is thinking about using technology. At the end of the day, using Twitter or using Facebook or using Instagram to get your message across is no different than if you own a cleaners versus being the chief marketing officer of a large retail chain like Quiznos.
Sure. Yeah, you know, companies, for example, one of the things that we see a lot by major companies is strategic alliances and strategic partnerships. And those kind of things, that means that the dry cleaners that have a high-end clientele that's across the street from a high-end restaurant to do things together as strategic partners to bring business to one another. You don't have to be a Fortune 500 company to use some of these concepts.
Yeah, that's exactly right? I mean, networking. Partnering with other people who've got like-minded clientele is absolutely the key. And it all starts back with fundamentals of marketing. The first thing you've got to ask yourself is, who is your core audience? What do they look like? And then from there, figure out what else do they buy? What else do they enjoy? What else do they engage in? When you find those two really core beliefs in your business, you can then find partners that are going to really drive business for you.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And now we've got, I'm looking over there at priceofbusiness.com, and when you go there, David is prominently seen over there on the right-hand side with David T. Scott, CMO Radio. And, now I'm seeing you got, since you joined us, 9 interviews. All of them are fascinating and I think very, very useful. It's important for them to be interesting, but it's also important for them to have utility. All of these have great utility. So of all of these great interviews, which one's been your favorite so far and why?
Well, we started off with Cheryl Atkins Green, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of Mary Kay Cosmetics. And even though that was my first one, I got to be honest with you, it is my favorite. And one of the reasons is, first of all, she was named one of the top most influential women in the country in business. And so when you talk to her, it's just a wealth of knowledge. And if you know, Mary Kay Cosmetics has a 100-year reputation of not just selling cosmetics, but what the business is really about is enabling women to become entrepreneurs. And she tells that story in my interview.
Yes, it is a great interview. There's something sweet about the first of anything we've tried, and so I can see why that would be the case. But as you pointed out, I mean, you're getting access to some of the leading CMOs out there. I think it's fantastic. And, in the weeks to come, who do you have in mind on your radar screen of people you want to chat with?
Well, we've recorded some really nice interviews. In fact, we just got out of the studio yesterday where we spoke to the Chief Marketing Officer of Quiznos, which was talking about why Quiznos became a phenomenon in the 80s and 90s and why it stalled. And get this, Kevin, the brand around Quiznos is not just about toasty subs. It's really about authentic ingredients, right? And the combination of ingredients and how the flavor profile changes when they become warmed. It was absolutely fascinating. We talked to the CEO of Cross.
Why did they stall? That is interesting. I remember the wolf commercials. Remember those? What, were you raised by a pack of wolves? Or are they making fun of Subway? And they obviously weren't, because Subway made sure that your sandwiches are now toasted. Maybe they put too much stock in just that one concept.
Yeah, well, this CMO just joined a couple of years ago with a team that's going to completely turn it around. In the next couple of months, you're going to see a brand new ad campaign from them, and the ad campaign can be found on YouTube today called GetToasty.com, and it gives you a sense of sort of how they're going, and they're bringing humor back to their advertisement, and that was just absolutely fascinating to learn.
Yeah, the wolf commercials I thought were amazing. I loved them. So give that website one more time.
Yeah.
Give that website one more time for people to see that ad campaign.
Yeah, I believe it's called Get Toasty. So if you just search on Get Toasty, you could find the website and or the YouTube station. Awesome.
What other future interviews are we going to be looking forward to?
We also have the Chief Marketing Officer of Playwell Technologies. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Playwell is actually a nonprofit. And what it does is it brings engineering skills to young kids. So if you've got a young kid and they're really smart and they're into building Legos and you don't know what to do with them at the end of the day, you drop them off at a Playwell and they can learn robotics, they can learn computer programming, they can learn architecture all through these after-school programs. And they have really grown. They've gone from 0 to 2,000 facilities across the United States with this whole core mission of making learning fun.
Very cool. Well, great. Got to wrap it up here pretty quick. Final thoughts before we let you go?
Well, I'm excited to be part of the Price of Business family, and so definitely listen and even subscribe to my show. And then also give me some feedback. If you guys want to hear from a certain brand, you want to hear about how someone did something, let us know. Now, one quick sneak peek is in a couple of months we're going to have the Dollar Shave Club. And if you guys seen those commercials, they're a lot of fun. So just stay tuned.
Yeah, those guys are absolutely brilliant. I'm not sure how they make any money because their price is so incredibly competitive. I am going to look forward to that interview. And what I'd like to probably do is a post-show interview with you on how that went.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll ask from you directly, Kevin. We'll ask them how they make money.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, my friend, I see what you're charging, and it's like disposable razor cheap. It's amazing what they do.
Yeah.
CMO Radio, hosted by David T. Scott. You know what? We need to hear more from him here on the radio show itself. You can check out his podcast all the time. They're amazing at priceofbusiness.com. David, so glad to have you on the show, my friend. And also, I want to mention your website. I've been mentioning Price of Business because that is the easiest way to get to your podcast. But let's mention your website as well.
Yeah, you can always get access to my podcast as well as my articles on scottonmarketing.com. scottonmarketing.com.
David T. Scott, thank you, sir. When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here can be found over there at usdailyreview.com. And in case you didn't know it, you're listening to The Price of Business.